and stuff. Just wanted to show you this as well.
About me? I didn't even fight last night. Just Dana.
Do you have any updates about the eye of Tom Aspinall, and is there a rematch in the works?
Oh, Jesus, don't let me talk about Tom Aspinall's eye. Apparently he's going in for a second surgery, or just had it, and by surgery I mean injections. I have no idea. Get a quote from him. God forbid I say something about it. Go ahead.
Dana.
Jeez.
How close did you think you were to fit?
Here's your quote.
Catching strays, aren't I? Catching strays in my own living room on a Sunday morning. Right, that's this one done. Next week, we've got the preview.
Right from the start, let me be clear about something. Tom Aspinall isn't looking for an easy way out.
The reports are out. The UFC asked Tom Aspinall to vacate the title until he was ready to go. He said he'd be willing to vacate the title as long as they released him. Now, that opens the door so he can go ahead and box. This is a really weird situation. The heavyweight division is just a total shit show right now. And it's been a shit show since the John Jones coming in, not wanting to fight, the interim champion, which was Tom Aspinall at the time, and then fighting Stipe. No disrespect to Stipe, but it was just, John had something in mind, and the UFC didn't squash that. They allowed that fight to happen, and it just led into this thing where the heavyweight division's been on hold since the John Jones, what do we call it? Bottom line is, Jailton Almeida is gone. Okay, they just released him. Tom Aspinall, if he is gone, John Jones doesn't seem like he's coming back, especially not to the heavyweight division. We have a mess. We have a disaster on our hands. The heavyweight division and the 205-pound division, the light heavyweight division, both weight classes are the worst that they've ever been. And these used to be the pillars. This used to be what would carry the promotion. When the merger of Strikeforce and the UFC happened, the heavyweight did it ever been. And the light heavyweight division, honestly, UFC was built off of the light heavyweight division. This is wild to me, man. The 135, 145, 155, and 170 right now are of MMA and definitely carrying the UFC. More to come.
Right, and I'm not defending Tom because I'm a friend of his, and I don't really even talk to Tom very much. We're not even friends like that. I was always an admirer of Tom's work, and I believed in his potential. A lot of people are talking shit because I get Cyril Gahn.
This man is a legitimate force in the heavyweight division. Think he's just chasing money? You're completely missing what's really happening here. A fighter with this level of tactical awareness and devastating power doesn't operate that way. The real story goes deeper than what you see on Fight Night. Sometimes a champion's toughest opponent isn't another fighter at all. It's the system that controls everything. If the UFC plays this wrong, you need to understand exactly why he's ready to cause some serious problems.
I think you're allowed to say, whoa, never mind the fight, I can't see. And then the crowd turned on him. And then this is where a lot of people are saying that he's milking it. Okay, after the fight, they showed footage at the hospital and getting looked at by the doctors, and everyone was like, oh, you're milking it, you're milking it. And then I'm going to go through some of the comments on Twitter in a minute. The same kind of thing there, right? And maybe he was, right? Maybe there was a little truth to that, because I understand it, by the way, because he wants to show the world, hold on a minute, I'm the victim here. I'm the guy that got poked in the eye. I'm not the person out there that's committing the fouls. I had two fingers.
You saw the crowd turn.
The real war isn't about being taken advantage of. The second you start playing victim in this business, trying to control a narrative that's already working against you, you've lost the champion's edge. This goes straight to the core of what separates real champions from everyone else. You're demanding your freedom from the UFC because your back is against the wall.
Let's run it back. And I was dying to, because the fight was a close fight. And yeah, Tom's nose was busted up and Cyril Gahn was looking really good. But as fans, is that not what we want? Do we not want to see exciting fights? Do we not want to see back and forth competitive matchups?
You took some hits, got knocked around, but you lived for every second of that violent exchange, right? That's the kind of raw authenticity that hooks you, showing who really belongs in this unforgiving game. But here's what you need to remember while you're getting caught up in the excitement. A fighter like Tom Aspinall is calculating every angle. He sees beyond the immediate crowd reaction. Fight intelligence goes way beyond just taking rounds. It's understanding the brutal reality behind every injury, every head trauma. When a top contender steps back, that's not giving up. It's usually the calculated choice of someone who knows his value and recognizes when the payout doesn't justify the ultimate price. He's thinking beyond the next bloody nose, and so should you.
We want to see legendary matchups as fans. We want to see good matchmaking. We want to see two guys that are the best in the world going toe to toe and pushing each other to the limit. And that's what we saw, right? It was a competitive match.
You crave those legendary battles, fighters push to their absolute limits, but that's just the surface level. It's the deep hunger for a challenge he's being denied. A true champion gets forged through opportunities to excel, not just from the organization controlling him. That's exactly why he's fighting for his release. Understand this clearly, the toughest opponent isn't standing across the octagon, it's the cage itself.
This is what a lot of the public fan base has had to say. Now granted, this is on Twitter, right? And we know Twitter is a bit of a cesspool of negativity and toxicity, right? I'm sure if we looked at the Instagram comments, it'd be a little more positive. But look at these guys. First of all, Grok, is this real? Come on, man. You really think the heavyweight champion of the world is out there? He's going to fake something like this? He's going to put some, like, I don't know, eye drops in his eyes and be playing a whole stunt? No, we all saw the eye pokes. We all saw the aftermath. We all saw the fallout. We all saw the appointments with the doctors. And now we're seeing 4 months later the fact that he's had surgery.
That sickening crack, you saw the extended agonizing recovery, his operation, and you still sit there talking garbage about schemes and fakery. This isn't some scripted entertainment. This is a man's complete livelihood, his actual body, his entire future on the line every single time he steps into that cage.
It's not just ignorance, it's a direct slap to the face.
Every genuine champion bleeds for their craft, and there it sits, that brutal disrespect. This is exactly why someone like Tom Aspinall faces what he does.
A warrior starts to question everything. It's not.
Shattered bones represent something deeper. It's the broken trust when you give everything you have, your entire future to this sport, and the industry treats your sacrifice like it's completely worthless. That creates a different kind of damage. It destroys something inside. It makes you wonder if any of this is worth it. If your heart is genuine, that's where the real work begins if they keep pushing the fight. Tom understands the price, and so should you.
That he didn't even do. If anything, people should be more pissed at Cyril Gard, and then underneath that, Tommy's milking this shit, but hey, it is what it is. He wanted out of the UFC and got his chance. Now he'll sue for a few mil, and that will be that. And we can go on all day, we can go through it, but you get the general consensus, you know? I mean, fake, they said, right, I don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, these guys are talking out their arse. What do you mean he wanted out? This man has worked his way up. The man became the interim heavyweight champion of the world by stepping up on short notice and taking out Sergey Pavlovich.
Those rumors floating around that Tom Aspinall is trying to escape the UFC. Let me set this straight. You've completely misunderstood the situation. That's not how a warrior thinks. This is someone who walked into hell on short notice, faced a monster like Pavlovich, and ripped the interim title right out of his hands. That's not someone looking for an exit strategy. That's a predator hunting for his next target. A contender might look for a better contract, but a champion like Aspinall gets driven by pure killer instinct for the undisputed belt. This isn't about running from the octagon. It's about dominating it completely. You need to burn this into your brain. Real champions don't want to leave. They hunger for the next battle. They want every single piece of gold.
Right? And that's what he's done to the majority of his opponents. And yeah, you know, he had a couple of things that week with the DC and saying he was going to boxing and all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, the fight was looking like a really, really good one. Now, I was excited for the rematch, and there's still been no talk of a rematch. Because, of course, there hasn't. How can you have a rematch when one half of the matchup is still going through medical clearance, still trying to get his vision back? And in fact, if you read out the actual statement from the doctor, this was an Instagram post, and this is what was written, but it was like written in third person. I think Tom shared it or something like that. It says, after his highly publicized eye poke injury.
Forget all the rematch talk. This goes beyond scheduling. This is about the sport robbing a man of his sight. You heard correctly. Waiting for medical approval. Vision severely damaged. This isn't performance art. Brutal reality. This is exactly why Tom Aspinall is looking at his options. Zero compromises. This game demands everything from you. Accept that truth, and here's what's real. It needs to stay burned in your memory. Contenders scrap, champions endure. However, every fighter reaches their limit. When the cost becomes a lifetime of damaged eyesight, everything changes. The priority stops being about championship gold. It becomes choosing your fate before the sport blinds you permanently. That's the raw, unforgiving logic behind wanting that release.
We've been working closely with him on his recovery. Following his operation on both eyes, we continue the journey to get Tom's vision back to fighting fitness, right? Now, let's talk about that. What is fighting fitness? Well, I know this very well. The benchmark for having fighting fitness is 2,200.
2,200 inches, a brutal mechanical measurement of fighting condition. Don't let yourself get fooled. That number represents the exact calculation of a warrior's spirit getting systematically destroyed. It's the savage hidden price pushing a man like Tom Aspinall toward the exit. He's not just recovering his eyesight, he's understanding the true cost of staying in that business. And this separates the levels. Every contender wants the fight. Every champion lives for it. But the truly elite ones with razor-sharp fight intelligence, they understand sometimes a great fighter's strategy means knowing when to walk away. You haven't seen the real monster yet. A silent surrender. Tom's not quitting. He's considering a champion's decision.
But 2,200 vision, all you gotta get is the top letter, the big old massive one, and then the two relatively big ones underneath that. If you can read those three letters, you have 2,200 vision. I know this because I cheated the eye test many times. To go on and have my legendary career where I did end up in the Hall of Fame and with a few belts and stuff like that, right? So I know what I'm talking about. So to get Tom's vision back to fighting fitness means he's got to have 2,200 vision.
Clear vision in battle? Absolutely not. They see only what matters. They fight through the blur. They overcome the obstacle. They force victory, because that's the minimum standard for any warrior in this brutal sport. So when Aspinall talks about vision and sight, you have to question yourself. Watching this, is it really his eyesight or is it his determination? This isn't about perfect vision, it's about fight intelligence and that raw champion mentality that pushes you beyond every physical limitation. If you're looking for escape when the battle requires you to dig deeper, you're not a champion. You're just a contender who lost the hunger to win.
Talking about it online would say to me that the operation has been a success. So now it just is a matter of time before Tom to rest up, to heal from the surgery, and then come back and rematch Cyril Gane. But how long will that be? Because the one thing that you can't do, and I've said this in multiple other videos, you cannot rush this. When you rush back too soon, things can go wrong. When you operate on something, you weaken it. Anytime you go in there and drill or cut and slice and mess about with it, you weaken it. So you have to allow it a lot of time to restore, to heal 100%.
Every injury you heal from, every training session drains something from you. Rush back too soon. You don't just risk losing, you risk ending everything. This isn't entertainment, it's the fight for your professional survival. This explains why Tom Aspinall's desire for freedom burns so intensely. He's not just a fighter, he's a chess player. He understands rushing back means risking, not just one loss, but his entire legacy. When the system forces you to compete injured, you have to ask yourself, are you a champion or just another casualty?
Ignore all the negative comments on Twitter and Instagram and all these dickheads online because they don't know what they're talking about at the end of the day. You'll be back at some point. I look forward to it. I look forward to the rematch with Cyril Gane. And then you'll get used to all this shit again. Everyone coming out of the woodwork and talking crap. Anyway, what do you guys think about everything that I just said? What do you think about Tom's situation? Do you think they're going to bring in an interim champion? Is it going to be Cyril Gane versus Alex Pereira, something like that? I really don't know. But what do you think? As I say, always say, let me know in the comment section and subscribe.
You talk about
Someone else moves forward, but you're missing the whole damn point. Listen, it's the crushing reality of being a sideline champion, injured, watching your entire division move on without you. That's why he's discussing release. A champion spirit refuses to stay inactive. And here's the harsh truth you're not getting. Sometimes the greatest fighting spirit isn't about battling the next opponent, it's about fighting what stops your momentum. You think the UFC wants an injured, frustrated fighter stuck on the sidelines? This isn't begging. It's a power move from someone who knows exactly what he's worth. You need to understand this.
Supposed to have when you're fighting the best people on the planet. So it's not that he was looking for a way out, it's that he got double poked in the eye. And now, as we say, here we are 4 months later, the man has had surgery. Not one, apparently he's had 2, right? And you can see the damage on the eyeballs, right? Anytime they mess with the eyes, I've had multiple eye surgeries, right? I lost my retina. You all know this story by now if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen this shit, right? Yeah, I lost an eyeball and I had a lot of surgery.
You saw it happen. Those weren't just ordinary injuries. That revealed the savage reality of this business, cutting into a man's optic nerve, threatening to destroy his entire future. A fighter's spirit matters, but what good is heart if your vision is permanently damaged? You think that's someone trying to quit? Dead wrong. That's elite level survival instinct protecting a lifetime of impaired sight. When the Octagon takes everything, you absolutely deserve to fight for your freedom. The UFC needs to listen when a competitor's future is on the line, not just their next fight.